welcome back to the greatest Fallout lore reaction series of all time. The most diabolical, psychotic, bonkers series of all time. Today's episode of Fallout lore from the More Fables Folly channel. The 10 most disturbing vaults in Fallout. So let's just jump right into it. This might be the last Fallout video that I do for about a week. I'm going to take a little break and I'm going to react to some other lore from other things. I'm going to keep going with the lore. I'm going to have multiple series. This one's from WiseFish. Vault 11, you say?
During the resource wars before the events of Fallout, nuclear war was taking place within the Middle East, in what were called the Euro-Middle Eastern Wars. These nuclear bombs destroyed everything around them, obliterated cities, killed millions.
I actually didn't know this. I didn't know that that was a thing that was happening before all the bombs dropped around the world, that there was war in the Middle East.
Millions of European and Middle Eastern civilians and wiped out all of the important natural resources they held. Because of this war out within the Middle East and the use of these weapons of mass destruction once again, the American government became terrified that nuclear war would soon hit their country. With this in mind, the American government formed together with the
Dude, that's where we're at right now. I feel this so hard.
Private company of Vault-Tec to set up 122 underground nuclear bunkers called vaults all over the Commonwealth States of America, and labeled the operation Project Safe House. Here they would be marketed to everyday people as well as veterans of the resource war as the next best thing to survive and preserve the American way of life. For when the bombs come, they could eventually re-emerge and continue the American dream once again as if nothing had happened. But whilst these vaults might have been seen by the public as perfect, tranquil safe havens for
is that Fallout 76?
If the nuclear war were to hit them, the American government and Vault-Tec had other plans in mind and utilized the vaults to run cruel, inhumane experiments on the inhabitants, trialing different drugs, psychological behavior, new machinery, and ultimately testing humanity to see what would happen to the minds of individuals who were locked away from the surface for years on end. With over 122 vaults being run all over the Commonwealth States of America, horror stories would be told of what happened within these vaults, with some surviving the many years of isolation and some falling into disrepair. But in today's video, I want to look at 10 of the most disturbing vaults in America.
How many vaults are there total in the actual games, not like total? Are these all like game vaults? Have all the vaults been in the games? It doesn't seem like it. Where's vault number 1? What is vault number 1? I'd like to know. Have they just been saving that one? Where's vault? It's 1 and 2 right here. Is this 1 and 2? This 13, 15 right here. I don't know.
Experiments were meant to be, and explain why you would never want to be assigned to these vaults, no matter what the circumstances are.
Yeah, you'd be better off just being a ghoul.
Are up on the surface. So today, these are some of the most disturbing vaults of Fallout.
Man, I can't wait until I start my Fallout Let's Play series on my gaming channel down there in the description. Vault 106. What is Vault 106?
We start our list with a recognizable vault of Vault 106.
That's in Fallout 3, judging by the colors.
Within a large cavern southeast of Urafu within the capital wasteland, 106 looked to be the spitting image of a perfect vault that would keep everyone safe from the nuclear fallout.
Yeah, I don't remember really any of the vaults from Fallout 3.
When the nukes finally came and detonated all over America, the inhabitants of the vault were sealed away. Everything seemed fine for the first few days. Food was plentiful, entertainment was vast, and everyone was settling in well. But after just 10 days, the experiments started to take place. The aim of this vault was to see how the inhabitants reacted to psychoactive drugs.
I completely forgot that I reacted to a Fallout 3 vaults video.
Their mental state, see if there were changes in personality, and ultimately just play around with the vault dwellers. After 10 days of the vault doors being closed, the psychoactive drugs entered the air filtration system, flooding into all of the rooms around the vault. Almost immediately, the inhabitants saw a difference in their surroundings. They started to hallucinate, and the world around them started turning a shade of blue. The overseer, named Albert Leris, knew of these experiments and how they were going to be administered to the inhabitants of the vault, but he didn't want this knowledge to come out.
This is one of the most insane. Okay, well, I guess it's in the top 10, so yeah. most insane vaults.
And instead made sure that its security personnel told the inhabitants that everything was fine and there was nothing to worry about. Eventually, the inhabitants of the vault would start to lose their minds, not knowing what was real and what was a hallucination.
Bro, I feel that.
Broke out within the vault
every day, am I right?
Utilizing every weapon they could find. And by the year of 2277, during the events of Fallout 3, some of the inhabitants are still alive, but their minds are gone and will attack anyone.
I remember this place. Dude, it's been years since I played this game and I remember this place.
They see. The drugs are also still being pumped into the vault through the air filtration system, so if anyone were to find this vault, they could lose their minds as well, like those who were assigned and lived within Vault 106.
That sucks to be them, am I right? Vault 12?
Vault 12 was another vault that was advertised to the public as the most idyllic place to live during the apocalypse, and actually was said to be the perfect vault out of all of them. Lots of rooms for everyone, lots of things to...
Well, it's number 9 on the most disturbing vaults, so I'm guessing it wasn't actually luxurious.
To do within it, a post-apocalyptic paradise, some would say, as well as featuring a new water purification system. But with Vault 106, a darker experiment was to happen when the eventual bombs would fall. When that day came, everyone who was assigned to a vault left their home immediately and ran for shelter. Every vault around the country closed their doors, apart from Vault 12. You see, with Vault 12, Vault-Tec specifically made it with a faulty door to make sure that it didn't close when all the other ones did. Here, Vault-Tec wanted to see what would happen to the inhabitants if they were exposed to radiation every day for years on end.
Which game was this one in? Was this a Fallout 2 game, like a Fallout 2 vault?
What it would do to their bodies as well as their mental states. When the bombs did drop, the door was left wide open and radiation filled Vault 12, affecting the inhabitants almost instantly. This caused all of the residents to turn into ghouls, physically scarred from the amount of radiation they faced. Eventually, in the summer of 2083, the residents of Vault 12 would leave and return to the surface to try and start a new life. But their physical appearance would mean they were seen as monsters to any humans they came in contact with most of them.
I just think they look kind of funny. I don't think they're monsters. I think they're just funny looking.
Being segregated from human civilization. Those who stayed within the vault, however, went on to create the city of Necropolis.
I could make friends with ghouls, you know? I had a ghoul friend.
Also known as the City of the Dead, which was made specifically for those who had been ghoulified by the radiation, a place for their own kind away from the rest of humanity, a tragic tale of survivors who just wanted to live in peace in Vault 12, but now thanks to Vault-Tec and the government, they now live away from all other life with their physical deformities on show every day.
It looks so cool. Damn, that sucks though. Vault 112.
Vault 112 is a very familiar vault for anyone who has played the main campaign of Fallout 3. Located underneath Smith Casey's garage west of Evergreen Mills within the Capital Wasteland, Vault 112 was one of the smaller vaults to exist, only holding room for a maximum of 85 occupants. The vault was run by the overseer Dr. Stanislaus Braun, a well-known German scientist working for Vault-Tec before the war. Dr. Braun was the mastermind behind the side division of Vault-Tec known as Future Tech, and was the man who created the revolutionary piece of technology known as the GECK, which was the Garden of Eden creation kit, which was a terraforming device used to rebuild society and create an earthly paradise. Assigned to Vault 112, this vault was fitted with virtual reality pods where
these virtual reality pods, is this similar to what House was using to project himself onto that screen? Onto those screens throughout the Mojave Wasteland? Is that the same thing? Or similar?
The inhabitants of this vault would be able to climb in and experience a virtual reality away from the real world, allowing them to escape the devastation of their world around them and also experience anything they wanted. However, Dr. Braun, the creator of these pods, had other ideas for the inhabitants of Vault 112. When the individuals went into these pods, they were now completely controlled by Dr. Braun. He was able to control everything within their world. And
that's fucking crazy. That he just decided, you know what, I'm gonna be a little girl.
They had no way of escaping. Dr. Braun was sadistic and liked to torture everyone within these virtual realities. Whether Dr. Braun intended this to be his plan from the creation of this vault is unknown. Maybe he wanted to see what people did when faced with tragic events and horrifying sights, or maybe because he was just so sadistic, this was his way of just having fun. And if that was the case, it's...
Or maybe it didn't even start out this way, who knows? Who knows, man? It might have started out normal, and then dude's brain got twisted as he got dementia or some shit.
Certainly worked. Every so often, Braun would get bored and virtually kill the inhabitants of the virtual world, causing the real individuals tons of trauma. He would then resurrect them and erase their memories and start the torture all over again. Basically, Vault 112 was an endless loop of torture programs where you would die, be resurrected, have your memory erased, and then killed again until Dr. Braun was satisfied.
That's fucking insane. Like, if I was in charge of something like this, where, like, I was completely forced to... Ooh, I see this ox horn down there in the corner. That's cool. But if I was, like, forced to do this for Vault Tech, I probably wouldn't kill them. I'd probably let them know what was going on. I probably wouldn't erase their memories and be like, all right, guys, you bored? Is it time to move on to the next reality? We're gonna have fun. I would actually have fun with these people. Like, come on. Can we not just have a fun vault?
If you were to enter Vault 112 and one of these pods, you would be victim to Dr. Braun's experiments and torture methods just to satisfy him. Why he is doing this though is unknown, but it looks like it's simply to just have a bit of fun with unaware victims.
Well, I think there was probably a point to it from Vault Tech at one time. And what I don't get is, why would Vault Tech start all these vaults and then never follow through with actually recording the experiments, like actually seeing what their experiments did? I don't get it. And maybe sometime in the future that'll happen in a future Fallout game. Maybe Fallout 5 will do something about that. Doubt it.
Vault 81 is one that would just cause so much paranoia, anxiety and PTSD if you ever found out it was happening to you or anyone you know. Here in Vault 81, the layout was separated into two parts. The main part was the regular vault layout where up to 96 residents could live in peace away from the horrors outside and all the resources they could probably think of. Nothing appeared wrong at all about this place. The vault door worked fine.
Dude, that's how it happens. The ones that don't appear wrong when you first look at them, typically some of the most messed up ones. Hence why this one is number 7. Is this number 7?
Nothing looked out of the ordinary. It seemed like a perfectly fine vault like that of Vault 106 and Vault 12. However, the other part of the vault was hidden away from the regular part of the vault and was accessed through a secret door. Here, Vault Tech scientists would live and conduct their research.
That's
Here,
crazy.
without the vault dwellers knowing, the scientists would pump the vault full of every universal cure for every sickness that humanity could possibly suffer from. This meant that not only were the vault dwellers exposed to every disease and sickness known to man, but also exposed to untested cures that could just make things worse. If the vault dwellers wanted to leave for the surface or cottoned onto the fact that the vault they were living in was a test tube for the worst diseases in humanity,
Which Fallout was this one in? I wish he'd tell me. He's not. That's one thing that I wish that he would do. Is it in the description? Nope. Okay. I guess I'm just gonna have to look him up. It was in Fallout 4. Okay. I was thinking it was either Fallout 4 or 76.
scientists would use the same propellant nozzles pumping in the cures and diseases into the vault to incinerate the individuals. Thankfully though, thanks to the overseer of the main vault, Dr. Oliviette, the scientists' work was to be sabotaged, meaning they could not pump the vault full of these vicious diseases, meaning the vault dwellers could live unaware that anything was planned for them. Dr. Oliviette made sure to keep it a secret from anyone so that they could all live in harmony.
Yeah, I don't remember anything really about Fallout 4, except for like, I can kind of get a picture in my mind of some areas and some people, and I remember some of the quests, kinda. But I played a lot of that game, and I just kind of did stuff. I didn't really follow and do what you're supposed to do in it.
Scientists, however, continued to do their research, and instead of using the vault dwellers, used mole rats. This vault would go on until 2287, allowing communication with the outside world, but one of the residents, known as Bobby DeLuca, located the secret vault entrance. As Bobby went in to investigate, Austin Engel, another resident, witnessed this and followed him in. Here he found one of the lab rats who had escaped containment. The rat bit Austin and caused him to catch an unknown lethal disease, meaning his life was now limited and he needed to find a cure. Whilst this vault didn't experience the full effects of the original experiments, it still houses some deadly diseases within the lab mole rats, and if these creatures were to break out, America could experience yet another plague to spread all over the country.
That's not good. Yeah, we don't need no more plagues. Vault 87, which one's this one from?
Located out within the capital wasteland near the child-run settlement of Little Lamplight, Vault 87 is once again another vault where the inhabitants were exposed to a deadly experimental substance. But this substance is crucial for why the world is inhabited with some of the mutants we see today. The vault's history didn't start there, however. Originally, this vault was meant to be just there to experiment with new technologies such as plasma containment fields and a Garden of Eden creation kit. However, as the Great War waged on between America and China, biological weapons were hitting the American troops hard. Vault 87 then turned away from its original experiments, and its core focus was on creating their own biological weapon. This being labeled as the Forced Evolutionary Virus.
Yeah, these experiments typically don't go the way they're supposed to go.
The inhabitants of this vault were used as the experiments, with the overseer knowing of the plans of Vault-Tec. The experiments, however, were seen as unsuccessful and turned the humans into what were labeled as inferior mutants. The humans increased
abominations
in size, strength, and immunity to any environmental hazards like radiation. Their minds were also massively damaged because of this, and they turned to extreme aggression with everything in their way. A year after the bombs fell, and one fell right on top of the vault's entrance, some of the test subjects broke free and killed all of the security forces within the vault. After they wiped out the human population, the mutants spread out all over the wasteland with the sole goal of trying to preserve their kind and remove anyone who is different from them. Vault 87 still exists, but it's in the—
Dude, they're basically the orcs of the Fallout universe. And the power armor is basically like the Space Marines or the Custodes or something. It's crazy how much, like, Warhammer influence there is in this game, or in these games.
State of disrepair, still being run by the mutants, but here they have altered it for their lifestyle, and have also made makeshift prison cells for anyone of their kind they deem as failures.
Vault 108.
Located between Canterbury Commons and Corvega Factory within the capital wasteland is Vault 108. This vault would be seen as relatively normal when first created. It suffered from some power issues in its time which the scientists knew of, and the overseer tragically suffered from a horrible cancer that would eventually kill them. However, Vault 108 in 2277 is actually one of the most terrifying vaults within all of the capital wasteland. During its time, it inhabited 475 residents, all from different races, creeds, and lifestyles. However, the scientists wanted to see if it was possible to clone humans to see what would happen with the clone.
Oh, I already know which one this one is.
And how it being brought into this world would affect them. Here they cloned a man called Gary. Not just once, but multiple times. After a few clones, however, the scientists started to notice that the clones would start to get aggressive towards anyone who did not look like them or were called Gary. This wasn't a massive problem as the scientists kept them in an observation room, but after cloning their 53rd Gary, the problem was still there.
Bro, so many times they cloned this Gary. Eventually you end up cloning an entire army that's gonna take you over. Obviously, the people who's trying to kill everybody that's not Gary is gonna take you over eventually if you keep cloning them.
They were still getting aggressive towards anyone who did not look or sound like them, or even have the same name. But
why'd you keep going? I think it was just an excuse to use the same character model over and over again, and it was just like easy to do, and it's kind of funny. Yeah, I give it to him. It's one of my favorite vaults in all of Fallout.
With Gary 54, this is where it went wrong. Dr. Peterson, a scientist working within Vault 108, went into the room with Gary 54 and was attacked and killed in the process. This triggered the Gary takeover, and all the clones breaking out and attacking their residence. By 2277, the Vault is overrun by Gary clones, and will attack anyone who is not one of them, as they lurk in the darkness of the Vault, speaking only one word: Gary. It is rumoured, however, that if you sneak up on them, the clones will speak to each other normally, but if you are found, they will begin to attack you, and the last thing you will hear as you bleed out is that one name: Gary.
Dude, that'd be so crazy if you do manage to, like, what if you do like a stealth boy with a no clip through the wall and you just hide in the walls and then you catch them talking? I want to try that. That'd be cool. I don't think that's true, but that would be cool if it was. Vault 22.
Vault 22 is located out in the Mojave Wasteland in a very different vault compared to the others. Visually, I mean. Unlike the others, which are usually covered by rock or dirt or...
Yeah, this is probably my favorite vault out of all of the vaults. It's just because I like the quest that you go on. I like the place that you get the quest from. I just like this whole part of this game.
Located underground, Vault 22 is surrounded by greenery, looking like life had started to regrow from it. However,
it's a really pretty vault, but damn, is it terrifying. It's probably the most, like, horror game part of any Fallout game that there is, because it's kind of scary compared to everything else in the Fallout games.
Warning signs,
besides maybe the ghoul tunnels
on the outside, tell a different story, stating, "Stay out. The plants kill." Originally, this vault was set up as one that would have a good motive. It was there to try and fight world hunger. Crops were grown and experimented on to make sure they were enough to go around and make sure no one went starving again. They were also made so the crops were resistant to insects, drought, and disease. When the bombs fell and the vaults were populated, the inhabitants of this vault were given one job.
Yeah, I think Vault Tech just ended up being completely incompetent and got the world blown up for nothing. Allegedly, if they were the ones who did it. I think they were. I think that they're the ones who triggered the entire nuclear fallout war.
That was to research these crops and make it so they were a viable food source. But constant experiments on these crops would lead to the inhabitants' downfall. Here they experimented with a fungus called Buivera mordicana. This fungus would essentially work the same as the fungus in The Last of Us. It would work its way into the human body,
cordyceps, is that what it's called?
Or any living creature, kill the host, and spread itself out again,
turning itself into a
everything
zombie
in its path. Created within the X-22 Botanical Gardens, Vault Tech allowed it to be used within Vault 22. A terrible idea, especially being so enclosed. The scientists started using this fungus as a form of pest control, but it quickly spread throughout the vault, infecting anyone around them, killing them, and spreading once again. Dead corpses were turning into spore carriers, whose sole purpose was to spread the fungus more and infect every living thing. Eventually, the vault was overrun by these deadly creatures, with 118 of the dwellers being able to escape and lock off the vault, placing warning signs outside to ward off anyone who were to discover it. Anyone who ventured in would likely meet their ends to the infected individuals who originally...
But they never thought that the courier would walk into that vault, man. The courier's a badass. He's got plot armor.
Wanted to end world hunger, but instead, thanks to Vault Tech, released something far deadlier.
Dude, nothing ever goes right for Vault Tech. Nothing. Vault 11. New Vegas again, it looks like. What is this one?
One of the original vaults within the Fallout universe, but certainly not a nice one. Vault 11 is a terrifying story about what happens to humans when they have to make a choice out of fear. Unlike with the other vaults where the inhabitants were exposed to deadly chemicals or diseases, this vault was made for one thing only: to conduct social experiments. When the doors closed on Vault 11, almost immediately a voice over the vault communication center would play. Here it would tell the residents that they had to sacrifice one of their own, or the vault's computer would kill.
This is the one, the super political one.
Everyone within the vault. After a long process, the vault dwellers would end up selecting a resident through a democratic election, basically turning this member into the overseer until they are sacrificed to the vault computer. This turned into a yearly tradition amongst the dwellers as they voted for the next overseer, and then killed them a year later. This would also lead to factions within the vaults who would try to manipulate the election process.
Dude, every time Every time you have elections, there's always factions of people trying to manipulate the elections, pulling it in all different directions, just completely fucking everything up.
Make sure that a certain individual was the overseer to basically get rid of them for good. Eventually, the residents had had enough and wanted to go against the computer, defy the one who controlled them, and take back the vault. When the time came for the next sacrifice, no one was offered to the computer. The vault dwellers waited to see their outcome, and what they got was a message that said, "Congratulations, your commitment to human life is a shining example to us all." The residents were then—
Bro, that's so fucked up. Like, actually, you didn't have to sacrifice anybody this whole time. We told you to sacrifice somebody, so you did. Why'd you think you had to do that, you bunch of morons? And then you just kept doing it, just because we told you to. Why?
Rewarded with the vault door opening up once again, and they could emerge up to the surface once more. Vault 11 was a test to see what humans would do if faced with the task of picking one human over the masses, and by standing together as one, they were finally rewarded for their efforts. However, this—
Yeah, rewarded for their efforts. That's so fucked up. That's a fucked up way to put that.
Would have been a happier story if this hadn't been going on for so many years. By the end, only 5 of the vault dwellers were left, and eventually those 5 were allowed to live their life on the surface, sort of learning the lesson that all they really had to do was just stick together.
Yep, and believe in themselves, and be friends. Just be friendly, be kind to each other. Vault 77, this looks like Fallout 3.
Vault 77 is a vault that has not been present in any of the games, but has been shown in a comic strip, and is an extremely creepy one as well. Unlike the other vaults—
Oh, so it's not actually in the games. That's what I was here for this video, man. See some ones that I'd never seen before.
Vault 77 was not inhabited with hundreds of individuals. It was not populated with local residents that lived near it. Instead,
it's got one guy?
It was inhabited by one lone man. This man was
yeah, I figured there'd be one.
Left on his own within the vault with just a—
Yeah, there's gotta be one that just has one guy in it. Of course.
A box. After months of feeling isolated and losing his mind a little bit, he opened the box to find hand puppets. During his time, he played with these puppets as he had no one else to talk to, giving them all unique personalities and roles within the vault. But losing his mind more and more, he would create scenarios as if the puppets were living people, eventually leading to the killing off of the king puppet. Eventually, he found the culprit of the murder, a puppet of a Vault Tech boy who he carried around at all times, forming a close, creepy bond with him. This Vault Tech boy puppet encouraged the man to find—
Dude, this is cool. I like this. I like this comic. I need to read it.
His darker side and ventured out into the wasteland. After getting captured by bandits, the man pleaded with them that they needed to get away as the puppet would kill them, whilst the puppet claimed that the man had killed before. After the bandits suggested eating the man, a bloodbath happened.
Yeah, this is one of the most insane vaults ever.
As the man and his puppet killed everyone he came into contact with. This would create the fear throughout the wasteland of the man known as the Puppet Man, who came from the terrifying Vault 77.
Fuck, dude. The legend of the Puppet Man. Vault 75. This is a Fallout 4 one, right?
And finally, we have what I think is probably the most disturbing vault of them all, Vault 75. Imagine if Vault Tech and the US government were basically the Nazis during World War II and used vaults as concentration camps. That's basically what Vault 75 was. Located out in the Commonwealth's, Vault 75 was hidden underneath the Maldine Middle School. This vault was advertised to people as a safe haven for the children of the school, giving everyone peace of mind that the children of the future will be safe if the bombs came. When the bombs came in 2077, every family linked with the school made their way down to the bunker. But when they got in, the children were separated from their parents. This was said to be so that they could receive orientation. However, the real purpose—
Orientation? You mean indoctrination?
Was to completely eradicate all of the adults within the vault to keep just the children alive.
Yeah, because their brains are more malleable. You know, they don't know nothing. You can teach them whatever. They don't know nothing about the world. Adults are smart. Kids are not smart. You can tell them anything and they'll believe it.
You see, the sole purpose of this vault was to preserve the gene pool of its child residents, making the genes stronger and making the subject more intelligent. During the child's time within this vault, they were given mental and physical tests that were bordering on torture, and those who died during this process were just marked down as being weak.
I don't remember any of this.
This was the ultimate test of survival of the fittest.
What game is this from? I'm gonna have to check it. Yeah, he said Commonwealth. What am I talking about?
On the child's 18th birthday, there would be a celebration as they had basically graduated. However, it was stated that the scientists would probably kill them anyway and just make sure they harvested their genetic code to continue their research. Basically, in Vault 75, if you are an adult, you will be killed off instantly. If you are a child, you will be tortured and either die or come out successful. And if you hit your 18th birthday, you will probably be killed off regardless and harvested for further research.
But how do you get more children? Are you making the children, you know?
To put it plainly, Vault 75 is a living hell, and if you found yourself living there, your chances of survival are pretty much non-existent.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to live in any of the vaults, I think. Maybe the one that you start out in Fallout 3, probably. That's probably the only one. Are there any other vaults that are just, like, really chill? You know, comparatively.
And those are just some of the vaults that we use to experiment on humans. To put it plainly, there's not many of these you really want to be found in, because you'd either go absolutely mad, have drugs pumped into you, mutate into a horrible ghoul or super mutant, or just be killed off by idiotic scientists who were clearly bored before and after the nuclear war within America. But thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this sort of countdown on the most disturbing vaults within the Fallout universe. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already.
I learned some new things about some of the vaults that I already knew about, and I learned about some new vaults that I didn't know about. Like, the one that he just mentioned from Fallout 4, because I don't remember any of the vaults from Fallout 4, honestly, except for the one that you can build.
And let me know what's your worst vault in your opinion in the comments down below. And also let me know if you'd like to see a part 2, because I'm sure there are many more vaults out there that are awful to live in. I'll leave my links in the description below if you want to support me on Twitch, Twitter and Discord, as well as my Patreon and YouTube channel links, or if you really like the content and want to help the channel financially. And speaking of, I'd like to thank my supporters real quick. Big thanks to Duquesne23, our big fish, our 3 Sharts, JP, Connor and the AVP man, and our huge megalodons Sinus, Morgan Brazier, JJD896 and Well Such Gaming. Also big thanks to our YouTube channel member, our Wise One, Jambu, as well as our Twitch subscribers. All your support means the absolute world to me. I cannot thank you enough. But that is all for now. I hope you like these lore videos, and I shall see you all in the next one. I love lore.
I love the beautiful lore. Juicy, juicy lore. And I will get back into the Fallout lore in about a week. In the meantime, I'm gonna react to some other lore, just get some variety on this channel, because right now it's mostly just Sword Art Online abridged and Fallout, and I want some other stuff on here, you know? Because I'm not a Sword Art Online / Fallout channel. Like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell for all the notifications, and check out my gaming channel down there in the description. I play a lot of older games, usually. I usually don't play any new games. Right now I'm playing Ratchet & Clank Going Commando. It's absolutely fucking awesome.